Cool. All right, so let's work through an example of making a toy animal, in this case, a rubber ducky, for the 4-minute toy animal. So first things first, I wanted to work from at least a reference image. So standard procedure, insert canvas, do web search. I have, where is my little rubber ducky? There you are, rubber ducky. That I downloaded from the internets earlier. Scale that up as needed. Scale is really irrelevant on this project unless it's important to you. So I can scale it up, place it how you want. There you go. Remember, if you want to actually have this as a defined size, remember you can calibrate your image. Right click on the canvas of the actual image you have. Go down to calibrate. Choose 2 points wherever. That gives you, all right, that's roughly 60 millimeters, which is really not that big. So let's bump that up to at least 120. Bigger rubber ducky. Okay. Here's my rubber ducky. So that's really my start point. If you would like, you can most certainly, or rather if you can find, you can most certainly import different views that will help you shape. I highly recommend, if you are trying to do something much more accurate, make sure you have a front view as well as a top view, which by default, if you were to switch to your multi-views, that would be your top, front, and side and perspective. But I'm just going to work with this one because I kind of want it just generally of this size. Also, don't forget, let's make sure to save. In class Duckie. All right. So this project is using a variety of tools within the create form space, the sculpt space. You can start really however you please. If you want to start from a rectangle, you want to start from a sphere, a quad sphere, a series of faces or planes, whatever is most effective for you. There is no defined start point for this. Now, I'm going to start with a quad ball just because it makes sense for me. Now, the difference on a quad ball is it's much more like a volleyball as opposed to a sphere, which is, yeah, you know, planet, longitude, latitude, that sort of thing for your faces. Depends on what you want, depends on what you think you might need. Because I'm going with a bit more free form, I'm going to start with a quad ball just because it makes sense. Now, what I'm going to end up doing, my plan is I'm going to make the body, and then I'm going to make the head, and I'm going to join the two after the fact. If you want, you can make it all from one single object. Doesn't really matter. So yep, starting there on the plane, and I'm just going to kind of build it somewhere in the middle here. Let's scale it up to, sure, roughly there-ish. Makes some degree of sense. I'm starting from a general size, doesn't really matter because I'm going to manipulate the heck out of this form, but if it gets me close to where I want, that makes sense. Sometimes it makes sense to start smaller than your intention or your intended size. Sometimes it makes more sense to make it smaller. Really just depends on how you like to work. For me, this makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and apply symmetry right away. Click mirror. This allows me to select right from the get-go. Choose length. Nope, I don't want it mirrored that way. Nope, I don't want it width-wise. I want it height. So you see by the highlighted green line, it is mirrored from left to right. That's what I want. Operation, new body. Yep, that's the only thing I can do. Okay. All right. Now from here, I'd recommend just starting from one side view. Basics of sculpting in general, same thing if you were like whittling, if you were working in clay, whatever, especially if you're like carving, like reduction only. Obviously this, I have infinite manipulatability, if that's a word, but we'll say it is. Start from one view and then change views. If you ever have done sculpting, this will make more sense. If you've never done sculpting, it might be something that is, oh God, how do I really go about seeing something in all 3 dimensions? Don't worry about all 3 dimensions. Worry about from one viewpoint, then turn to the other. Right here, I'm going to be working from the right. Once I get this form more or less how I like it, then I'm going to turn to the front, shape it from there. Then I can work from the top or whatever progression you want. So I'm going to start from the right and let's start playing. First thing I'm going to use is the edit form. And my selection is, yeah, all of them. I'm going to select from here, and I'm going to be using a lot of the free transform, which is the square in the center, mouse over that, and I can just warp the heck out of this. Remember, if you select from the left to the right, it will only select what is completely enclosed. If you select from the right to the left, it will select anything the selection box touches. So you can see I can just kind of start warping this stuff around. Faces make sense to work with sometimes. Other times it might make more sense instead to work with just like the vertices. So if I select all of just those vertices, I didn't get all of them. There we go. I kind of move those down, start to flatten. You're going to course orbit around, look, but again, I would stick to just one viewpoint for now. Let's work with some of the faces again. Those. Let's get the duck butt going up more out to there. Now, I want to start making the tail and such. I started with a very simple quad ball. Same with if you're starting from a sphere or box, whatever. Start simply, then add faces. Do not overcomplicate the thing for yourself and make a whole bunch of faces. You can always subdivide the form or subdivide your faces, subdivide the or with new edges after the fact. If you start from a really complex thing with a lot more vertices and faces and everything, just a lot more information to deal with, you have a lot more information to deal with. Start simply, then add complexity. Just squishing down here. Let's say maybe now some of the vertices. There we go. All right. So I would like now, I think I would like to subdivide right here. Before I do that though, before I start adding the tail, let's have a look from the front. All right, rubber ducky is a little wide bodied. All right, so let's select from the side here. Actually, I want to select the all part. There we go. And you see, because I have symmetry active, it highlights the other side when I only selected the one on the right. Bring that in a little bit. Yeah, that looks close-ish. Now I will get to here in a few how I did the wings and such, but right now I just want to work out the body. All right, that's a little more ducky-ish. Cool. Okay. Now I'm looking at this right here. Now an easy way to work would be, sure, let's bring up the edit form again. Maybe I could do it with vertices, do it with just that point there, and I could say drag this upward or so. But the problem is if I just drag that single point, well, it's bringing all of this whole other face with me, or with it. I don't want that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little complexity. I'm going to use one of the other tools up here, Insert Edge. Let me orbit up here, and you can see what I'm doing. If I select here, I can move this over. Now, sometimes symmetry does require you to select both sides. With edges, see if I do this, it will do it on both sides, but sometimes it doesn't hurt just to double check and select the whole thing. But me adding in that extra line there, now I have some other faces that's kind of right about where I want it to be. All right, let me select, now back to edit form right here. I'm going to scale this up. Now see, scaling is something I haven't really messed with, but look what that did. That really started to tweak this whole shape now. Now I can select all of these. Let's bring that in a little bit so it fits a bit better. Cool. All right. Now I want to not just pull upward here, but I want to actually extrude upwards. So remember, press and hold Alt, then pull upwards, and it'll automatically select that. Now, I want to show you something real quick. I just selected that. My symmetry is active. However, when you are extruding something along the mirror line, if you don't select the face and the edge line, you end up with duck butt. So let's Control Z that. I have the whole thing selected. So instead, Let me go back to right. And instead of just selecting that one face, I'm going to use a selection box. So that selected the face as well as that edge. Now, when I press and hold Alt and extrude up, now I got the whole thing. So just remember, if you're extruding along a mirror plane, or sorry, along your symmetry edge, which is technically a mirror plane, whatever. If you don't also select the edge as well as the face, it will split the pieces off against that edge. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, got that about there. Let's scale that down a little bit. Now I can move that over. Like I said, this is very much just going to be playing around with what works for you. Now, like I said, one issue with all of this is it's not recording each step in the history slider. This is all very much free form. So if you don't finish what you're doing, or rather, if you have to step away, if you save and close everything, you're going to lose all your option for Control Z to back step. If that happens, yeah, that's a thing that I wish that was in Fusion, but that's not. So try to get to where you want to be in one sitting, or at very least without having to close out Fusion. So I'm going to keep tweaking this little tail here, move this around. I'm just going to use the free transform. There we go. Neato burrito. Let's scale that up a little bit more again. Yeah, that's kind of sort of ish about where we want to be. Switch back to vertices, move this around, making my duck. There we go. Now, if I switch to another view, now look and see how, while from the side, that tail looks about right. From the front, that looks more like a saddle than it does a tail. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, still with the selection scale, let me just select across the whole top here, and I'm going to scale down the other way. There we go. A little more adorable. Now we're good. Okay, that's roughly-ish what I'd like it to be. Click OK. There we go. Now I'm not hitting finish form. I'm just going to check around here. All right. Oops. Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward or whatever. Okay. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to make another body for the head. Okay. So for the head, I'm going to use a sphere. Totally separate. Still in the same plane. I'm going to start it somewhere-ish in the middle. There we go. Now, the reason I'm using a sphere instead of a quad ball is because I intend to extrude outward to create the bill. And what I wanted was even though it's on its side, a latitude line that splits my work as opposed to the quad ball. For me, it made sense just spatially to use this quad ball for the body and a sphere for the head. Just me. Also, the orientation of the sphere kind of sort of already puts the two poles. They're not where at least my image is, but I kind of get a sense of the center there is an eyeball. So it kind of gives me a little bit more of a mental image of what I'm trying to do there. That's really all. Again, you can add more faces using the slider. Don't overcomplicate things. Make it simple. I would say leave the original 8. If you really want, you can even dial it back more to 6. Again, I'm making a simple form. I can always make it complicated later. Let me try that. 6, there we go. It's much more simple now. Symmetry, yep. I want mirrored symmetry along the height. Check there, green is active. That's what we want. Operation, new body. They are touching kind of, but I don't want them to connect. Just new body. I will connect them later. Okay. Let's start chopping this duck's head apart. All right. So again, edit form, start playing. I'm going to stretch the front here. Stretch that out a little bit that way. Same here, stretch that a little bit that way. Now, one thing I want to do here is I would like to go ahead and how I'm planning on connecting these two is I would like to build a bridge between here. So before it gets too complicated, what I want to do, let's click OK. I'm going to select there. I'm going to delete that face. Now, one thing that immediately happens is everything kind of rounds itself out. It's pretty convenient the way that works out. Same thing could go for the bottom here, but on the body, what I really should have done was added one more set of faces there. So I'm going to insert an edge right there. We'll bring that to roughly the same. Sure, that seems about right. That warped my body a little bit, but that's okay. Now, if I go to that one, delete, rounds out a little bit. Do those match? Not at all. But I'm going to manipulate them here in a few. But I just wanted to show you all kind of where I'm going with this. All right. Now, right now, if you're working between these two, yeah, that can get a little confusing. So I'm going to switch that to body one is just body. Looks like I have caps lock going nanners. There we go. Bobby, sure. Bobby, body. Body. There we go. Now I can spell. And head. Just helps out a little bit. Okay. So now, since these are so close together at the moment, I can hide one, the body. And now I have a little bit more ease of seeing what I'm doing here. All right. So let's try to flatten out this edge here a bit. Let's use just the vertices. Let's see here. Let's select just those two. Oops, didn't get them. I don't want all of those. There we go. Just trying to flatten that a little bit. Great. Okay. That's all. I just wanted to do that real quick. Okay. Let's look from the front and let's kind of squish this head in a little bit. All right. Go back to all of the things. Select all those. Maybe not that. Let's just do, actually, tell you what. Let's select from the left to the right. So I just get that, and let's kind of squish these in a bit. Now, also, since I'm kind of using the center of those spheres as my eyes, I can also kind of manipulate that a little bit forward and give the, by all admission, something bug-eyed looking. But yeah, you know, nothing wrong with a little bit of a nightmare ducky also. Okay. So again, very simple for now. The head is close to where I want it to be, and I'll tweak that here in a few. Now what I want to do is I want to start extruding for the bill. But if I just went, again, if I just went to here and say, hold Alt, I'm going to get some weird stuff. It's actually not bad, but again, I didn't select the edge. So now I have like this, you know, double butt face thing going. So don't forget that. Control Z. Switch to right. Let's actually make sure to get both the face and the edge. Now I can extrude that forward. I get a bit of a bill, move up, rotate. That's not terrible, actually. Do it again, press and hold Alt. Kind of got like an anteater thing going. Let's zoom out. Now I want to scale this just one direction so it kind of flattens. There we go. Yeah, that's not completely terrible. Somewhat unsettling, but that's okay too. Again, you can make this however you like. Okay, that's sort of kind of a bill. Now my intention is actually I'm going to create an indentation here. So to do that, I want to include an edge, or rather add an edge. So insert edge here, but I want this all the way back. So if you double click an edge, it's going to select all the way around, but that doesn't include here. So I want to make sure to add that edge as well. Let's see here, that one. Now, ironically, this is not letting me operate. So let's see what we can do with this here. There's an edge there. So I'm going to delete that. That was not letting me work how I wanted to. So now if I go to insert edge, ooh, what just happened there? That's doing some real weird stuff. Let's cancel that. Trying to create an edge between right here. So let's see here. I can start an edge there, but that's going to do that there. Start an edge here. Not really. I might have messed something up here. So learn more when you fix stuff rather than if you get it right the first time. So let's show you how to delete faces and then fix it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete the entire front here. Oh God, what happened to the poor little guy? There we go. So this has got kind of like this weird open maw Kirby thing going. Well, for one, I can start, first off, I can shrink all this. Select all of that. I'm going to use the full direction scale, which is if you go right in the center, mouse over that, that gives those 3 arrows in all directions. I can drag that and that scales from all sides. Cool. Or I can scale from the top. There we go, something more like that. Okay. So how you fix holes, modify, and where are you? Because there's so many. Fill hole right there. Select, I already had those. Oh, I'll show you. I already have these edges selected, but select those edge. Now I just selected that one. What I want to do is, it keeps not letting me, it keeps jumping ahead of what I want to do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually select the edges before. Now I'm going to go down to fill hole. Now you have some options here. This first one is just reduced faces. You can do fill star or collapse. Really just depends on what you're trying to do with this. Now, this kind of looks more like what the problem was to begin with. The other options is weld the center. That actually just attaches them properly. And if you wanted this to actually be a hard edge, click that, and now you see, instead of rounding everything over, it's just a creased edge. I don't want the creased edge. All right, let's try that with the collapse. Okay. A little bit stunted, but that's okay too. Now that's still doing some pretty messed up stuff. All right, let's try from the top here. Still, same problem. All right, well then I'm going to Control Z, fix the face, back to fill hole, and instead of collapse, let's try, no, not fill star, that's messed up. We'll try reduce faces. Okay. More or less where we were. Edge there. Let's see if it'll let me select. No, not more than one. All right, well, might just have to do this a completely separate way anyhow. Fine, be that way. But cancel, I'll show you how to do a couple of different faces here in a minute. All right, so let's just continue what I was doing here. Like a little adorable ducky face, stretch on out, doing an extrusion, kind of a little cutesy upturned bill. Sure. Let's shrink that in one direction. Actually, not too far off where it was. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay. Where does that get us? Not bad, not great, not bad. Let's have a look at the body now. Okay. Now, one of the things to bridge parts together is they do need to kind of sort of match. So from here, what I need to do is hide the head. Let's work the body again. Switch back over. Need to turn this back from a little bit of a something of a nightmare canoe into a duck body. So let's change this out a little bit. Check with the head. Yeah, that's closer. Same with that side. Now, do these need to like actually match? No, it's more of that they need to just be kind of generally not a disaster. Okay, so that gets us sort of kind of close. Now let's try, and I say try because I want to check something, but let's save. So body and head, nope, guess I still had caps lock on. Made, all right. Now we used the bridge tool before, excuse me, to make on the utensil tube project to create both the head and or the bowl and the handle. So we're gonna try the same with this. And I say try because sometimes it gives you errors when you're trying to merge pieces like this together. So first, your selection toolbox is side 1. So that's this side. Double click on that edge and it selects the whole edge. Switch to side 2. Double click up here. And there we are. Warning. That's what I was looking for. Where'd my warning just go? Let's try the preview. Well, that really doesn't help there, does it? Shows me some real weird stuff. So faces, if you want to add it more complex, let's try to simplify. We'll go to 2. Sure. Creases. Nope. I don't need it to stay sharp, but that should work. Okay. It gave me an error at first, strangely, and then it went away. So I guess it's fine.
I did that too, but then like it works anyway.
Maybe it just changed. It changed its mind. It thought about it for a moment. All right. Click OK. Whoop. It did in fact build. Cool. Now, often what happens is if the error there pops up when it says cannot bridge both sides faces must match. Let me Control Z and I'll show you what the issue usually is. If you have literally more than one face there, let's just chop that up. What often is the case is exactly this. There's more faces on the top than there is in the bottom. So now when I go to, I keep losing where they are, bridge, double click the bottom edge, double click for that, there we go. Edges must be equal. That's exactly the problem. See, there's edges here. There's technically 1, 2, 3. So there's 6 on this side. However, on the head, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 8 on the top. That is what the problem is. So if you run into that, what you can do, cancel that out. Now here I could literally just Control Z back, but again, learn something and help. Select that edge. I can just literally hit delete. It recompile or it redraws the face here. There you go. So if that's the error message you're getting, double check the amount of edges, and it's easier to see sometimes the face or the edge lines along the faces that are coming to that edge. Check that. That is usually what the problem is. So now go back to modify. Keep losing it. Bridge. Top. Bottom. Okay, got it. Okay, don't know what the problem is, but it's still fine, so whatever. A semi-functional little adorable-ish rubber ducky. Okay, so Duckie has some problems. We're going to get to that. But let's go ahead and save. Bridge, head, and body. All right. Let me pause the recording here. Okay, so resuming again. So far we got the head and body bridged with a little neck here, and I kind of tweaked the body a little bit. We got this kind of fun stuff. So basically the next steps are adding details. Now, one of the first things I want to show how to do is I want to add both eyes, and I just want to draw on wings. Now the original doesn't really have that. It does kind of have, you know, just as far as rubber duckies go, kind of has that little soft outline. I want to show you how to actually create extrusions with that. So one of the ways to do this, and there's a couple ways you can go about this, trying to create extrusions that are not just square extrusions like we've been doing so far, that are more rounded, you have to kind of get a little creative with some of the different tools. So one of the ways I have found is first, let me do a couple of sketches. So you can do sketches within this space, but we're going to do this outside the space. So let me go to finish form. I can always come back into it. Finish form. And you see now that it kind of changes a bunch of stuff around. You don't see all the same faces that you did see before. Kind of weird, but there we are. Anyway, let's hide the body, and I just want to draw some stuff on here. So first, start a sketch. And now I'm back on the regular workspace that we normally have been. First, I want to create an eyeball. So I'm going to use an ellipse. Now, remember, ellipses only go in at first in one direct or in your standard directions, meaning along your regular axes, but I can always create that and then I can just rotate it. I can finish that, hit OK. Then I can just use the move tool, select that, and then just rotate it. Oops. First, I have to delete the coincidence. Delete coincidence. Select that. Now move, and it'll rotate. So there we go. Got the little bean eyeball thing going. Great. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to use a fit point spline, and I'm going to make a kind of little wing here. Doesn't really matter where I start, but I'm going to start more or less toward the edge. I can just barely see the outline of what they have originally, so I'm going to try to follow that a little bit. Something like that, somewhere in there-ish. Something. There we go. Now I do want to do is I want to add some of the kind of like little feathery things. So from here, I can double back and draw that in, but you can see, of course, what it's doing with me with the lines with my fit point spline. Let me hit there. Now, if I try to go back and forth, I'm going to get like sausage finger wings. So I'm going to hit enter. I can tweak the handlebars a little bit. Ooh, not like that. That was weird. Okay. And what I can do is now continue fit point spline starting from the same spot, but now it's going to have a sharp point. That's how you can create more points within that curve. Now, yeah, I'm still going to end up with a little bit of a sausage finger thing, but I can still tweak that. Let's adjust that a little bit. Oof, that is rough looking. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay. Another fit point spline, straight out. And we'll kind of adorabilify that. Okay. It's a closed form. Let's zoom in here, and I want to adjust that edge there a little bit. Those are now linked. Let's try to flatten that just a touch here. Oh, didn't want to delete that. Didn't mean to do that, but that's all right. Let's drag that over, snap it to there. And that works okay too. All right, there we are. Kind of adorable little winglet. Now something's up. It is not closed. Double check. I accidentally ended up deleting that whole section. Okay. Let's, for some reason, it's connected, but not actually. So, no, don't want to repeat that. Fit point spline and just connect those two. There we go. All right. Now it's a closed profile. Okay, finish sketch. So from here, normally what I would say is let's go ahead and do an extrusion, no problem. All right. So let me unhide the bodies or do an extrusion on these two forms. Excuse me, unhide the bodies, extrude those outward. And what I don't want is a cut. I want a new body entirely. So probably should do these two separately. So let's cancel that. Let's just do the wing for now. Now, one issue is it's giving me an error there, that little red line inside there. Let's go back and adjust that right now. I can see what the problem is already. Let's go back to the right, edit sketch. What was happening is, you see, these overlapped actually. So let's check the handlebars on this and just tweak that a little bit. So there we are. Lines aren't overlapping, won't cause the error again. There we are. Okay. Always look for errors. Okay, so I can extrude this out, unhide that body. Again, I don't want that to be there. But problem here is, well, look, it's still going to be flat. How can I make this curved and match that, but still coming out? Couple things. What you can do is really get creative with the combine tool. And instead of combine, what you could do, or effectively, you could use the intersect tool. Now look what happened here. You see when I use the intersect tool, instead of just straight extrude, like as a new body where it's going to be flat, remember intersect within the combine tool section, that takes the difference between. It removes everything else that's not within that profile. So that makes sense right there. Okay, that actually kind of works. That gives me my curve. However, when I hit OK, all I'm left with is that, and it deleted literally everything else that I just did. So learning from that, let's Control Z. And what works here is what I can do, and let's just rename this as Duckie because it's the whole thing now. What I can do is I can make two of them. So let's copy and paste. Yep, I want a second one. Duckie 1. I'm going to rename this as Wing. Because what I'm going to do now is with this whole thing, I'm going to scale this up just a touch. Let's say a scale factor of 1.1. Just blew it up a little bit. So you can see it matches on some points. Problem is it's not a perfect scale, but this is an idea. What you can do is you can, of course, select a point within. We'll do right there. That kind of makes sense. I just selected a point inside that wing. Okay. So I'll just show you. Let me hide the wing. You can see how big the original is. Now that outside is the new one I'm making. Click OK. All right, those are overlapping. Great. I'm going to hide the inner Duckie. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use Extrude. Let's extrude that sketch. I want it to go in both directions, so symmetric. I want it to go outside. Doesn't really matter how far, but I don't want it to cut. I want it to intersect. You see what it's doing? It's basically making an extrusion, but it's subtracting everything away and leaving me with just the curved surface in the outline of that wing. It hit OK. Now I unhide the original, and now I have an extrusion that is slightly larger on all sides. Is that a perfect solution? No, but it is a very effective solution for that. Now what I could do is I could join these together. I can add a fillet around that edge. Let's say 1. Let's try 2, because your rubber ducky should not have sharp points. Make sure you have actually selected the edges. So extra stabby ducky. See, accidentally, let me cancel that and redo it. Repeat fillet on that, and make sure that you get all of the edges. There we are. Back to 2, see if it gives me an error message. Okay, so one of the things that does happen with fit point splines or trying to make a fillet in really tight curves like this is you are going to end up getting limited to what can happen, as in your fillet edges. So 2 millimeters is too large. Let me switch back to 1, still give me the same error. Okay, so let's cancel this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and round out these edges back in my sketch. So let me go back, edit that sketch, hide the bodies there. Hey-oh. Now let's fillet those two together. Not quite that much, but somewhere in between. 0.5. Yeah, let's go with 0.25. Okay. See, now it's got a little bit of a round to it. I'll do the same with this one. Remember, if you don't hit enter, it's still selecting whatever it's still going to fill up the next ones you select. Okay, let me hit. Now I hit enter there because I did it to both. Finish sketch, recalculates. Now my extrusion has that bit more round. Now let's try to add the fillet. Now it selects that whole face. It's not broken up by those sharp edges. Let's try 2. Still a problem. Dang nabbit. Let's try 1. Still giving me an error. Well, aren't you just a pain? All right, fine. Let's try tangent chain, deselect. Nope. Oh, it's because I didn't have that selected, I don't think. Cancel. Try it again. Let's just try the whole face. See what that does. Still giving me that error. Okay. Well, 2 sharpened edges. I'm gonna have to go back and mess with that. One okay? Nope. So I'm gonna have to mess with that sketch a little bit. It's probably just because it has these sharp edges here that sometimes does that. Or it might be there's a, that edge looks strangely thick. There might be an issue with that too. We'll see. But anyway, that's how you create those rounded edges. Or that's one way you could do that, is with scaling, as duplicating your original body, scaling one up a little bit, and then using the intersect tool of the combine. Or with this, we did it with all in one go with the extrusion tool, and there you go. And he just takes that, save that. All right. So I'm going to save this here. That is Intersect or Wing. All right. Any questions on that at the moment? Okay. Let's see here. Pause that real quick. Okay. So that's how to make the wing. I'm going to combine these two into one in a bit, but for now, I also want to make the eyeball. Okay. So I'm back to only the original size of the duck and the wing there. So that does create a problem there. Okay. Let me unhide these sketches. Good. All right. So next what I can do is I can also split faces and such, or split bodies. So let's go into the modify tool. I am not inside of the form edit tools. You see here, down here, you have split face, split body, silhouette split. Not gonna worry about that one. Split face is an excellent way of literally just adding some edges that aren't based on others. The others, I could split the whole body and actually create new bodies. So let me hit split body. Object to split is the whole thing here. My splitting tool is that sketch. And now it has laser beam eyes. The bottom check mark extends the splitting tool, as it says, just out basically infinitely. If you uncheck that, it just kind of keeps it localized. So if you were, say, had something that was much more complex and there were like components, bodies, or whatever outside the area, just to make sure it doesn't cut all the way through, you can just uncheck that. So I select OK. Now you see that added another body there. If I hide the ducky, oh, now I'm just left with that right there. So that actually split what was existing. You can see here, it's a little bit awkward. Let me change the settings, see if you can see a little more clearly. Kind of got like this praying mantis thing going. But that kept just the faces of the curvature there. And this total tube extrusion. Go back to the rest of the body. Now there's not an eyeball in there. So that is one way to make that work. So if I wanted, I can now put like a fillet on the inside there. And now say unhide the eyeball. Put a fillet on that one. And these are not mirrored, so you should make sure to do that both. I should have made sure to do it on the other one too. Like one, let's make that a little bit bigger. Two. Can't for some reason. One. Okay. Now when I unhide the original body, now you've got like this little inset here, and you can play with that too. So that's another way of doing this. Not really the best way of doing it, but that is a way. I would recommend either doing the same that I made the wings with, or what you could do is create a new body entirely. Say like create form. Let's do a sphere right here. We'll draw it somewhere right there. Make it big enough. Okay, yeah, that's probably fine. I don't need to actually add symmetry because I'm going to chop this in half. Select all of those, delete that. It just deleted the whole thing. I don't render any of that. Form. I don't know why I deleted everything. There we go. Delete those faces. Come on, what's going on here? Oh, because it had symmetry active. Whoops. So I didn't see that it actually had kept the symmetry. So easy thing to fix there. Go under symmetry, clear symmetry on that object. Yep. Whoop. Green line's gone. There we go. Now I can select what I was trying to do. And I'm just going to create this with one eyeball, mildly unsettling. And we'll give this, I don't know, some kind of nightmare eye. Okay, so I have this here. I'm going to leave just that alone. Finish form. So now let's hide the, see, I got to rename some stuff here. I put that as Duckie. There we go. Okay. So I have internally, let's hide the body for Duckie and that creepy eyeball. There we go. So I have this here. Now what I can do is if I want an actual curved surface to work with, what I'm going to do now, let me extrude that sketch. I'm going to extrude this out past, doesn't really matter, but out past this curved, the curved eyeball. New body. Yep, that's what I want. Okay. Now I'm going to use the thicken tool. Where was it? Oh, it's under modify. Oops. No, that was right. I always lose stuff. There we are. Thicken. So I'm going to thicken the original because the original, let me hide this canvas so you can see what I'm doing here, is basically because I deleted the other half of that sphere, it's just a surface. So a cool thing is within thicken, the regular one, select that surface, let's say 3. Operation, it also has combine components. So just like to combine any of that, I can select intersect on this. And now I'm left with, again, the intersection with that extrusion from the eyeball sketch, but I'm left with the intersect between those two. Select OK. Now I'm left with a combination, a fully curved surface there, and a combination of those two. So I unhide Duckie here, and my, let's rename that to eye extrusion. Whoops, if I can spell. And then this body 5 is eye intersect, there we go. Okay. Now what I could do is select that eye. No, I just want the eye. Just want the eye. Move. And let's drag that outward until it pokes out the, well, eye socket. Still unsettling, but there we go. Okay. I can still add a fillet to like that side. Let's try 2 this time. Nah, still too much. 1 then. There we go. Super duper. Definitely unsettling. Oops. Other side is no eye at all because I can mirror this. So let me select mirror tool. I don't want faces. I want bodies. Mirror plane is the actual plane. Bloop. There we are. And a mirror is over there. Mildly unsettling Duckie. Okay, so those are some great ways to do that. Let's see here. So let's save. Eyes added. Great way to select that. All right. Could you do the same to like split up the bill and such? Totally. But let's go about some other stuff first. I want to add some colors now. Let me hide the sketches so I can see what I'm doing. Let's bring up the appearance tool, press A. let's see here. I would like metal. Maybe not metal. I want paint. Ooh, metallic flake. Heck yeah. Let's have a metallic flake duck. So by default, it's going to be by bodies. Why isn't it? And click and drag, and I don't know what's going on here. Why isn't it? Well, that's weird. For some reason, it's not applying. Okay. That's really weird. Fine, we'll go with glossy then. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Okay. No idea why it was doing that. All right. And to the wing as well, because those are technically two objects still. All right, great. Well, that's two sides. The eyes are technically bodies, but what if I want to split that up? Same with the bill. Well, remember, you can apply by faces too. So let's try red for the select face. Let's see here. For some reason, it is not wanting to work with me here. No, not for the whole thing. Real weird. It is not wanting to work with me at all. Hand face is selected. Make sure nothing is selected. There we go. So one of the issues here is you can do this by faces. Of course, you have to do it like individually. However, you're beholden to whatever exists. So yeah, that kind of fits the bill, but yeah, whatever. I can't not make bad jokes. But I want to say split that up to where I want to actually be able to control what is there. As in, I don't want to be beholden to apply to faces, yes, but not the faces that are there. I want to actually be able to like mess with that. So let's Control Z out of all of that. And now I'm going to start another sketch on the original. And I just want to draw like a fit point spline. I want to basically outline around what I would like to be the bill. I'm going to draw out here. Something-ish to there. Okay. Let me move that a little bit more. Cool. That's it. I just need a little line there. Great. Finish sketch. I have the sketches hidden, so let's unhide that. So like I had before, I'd gone to modify and split body, but this time I want to split face. So faces to split. All of those. Oops, let's select all the ones that I can actually. Come on. There we go. Splitting tool is that line. And just like before, it can extrude, or rather it can extend that splitting tool over basically the entire plane. I don't want that. See what's happening down here at the bottom as well? That would be selecting the face or the little front of the duck too. I mean, technically that would work, but whatever. Let me uncheck that, and that's just going to keep it localized to right there. Split type, you got some other options there, but I'm just going to keep it as default. Click OK. Now I just basically added some new edges there. That's really all that does. So now I have some additional lines to work with. So I bring up the appearance tool, apply by faces. Now I have a lot more control over that. And honestly, it might have been a lot easier to do that as instead of a split face, as a split body. But stuff you can do. Get in there.
I think you can select the faces too, and then double click on one of the.
Should be able to, but it doesn't always work for some reason. So yeah, keep going. Yeah, it's not gonna let me select everything. So I gotta keep doing this individually. You pain. Get in there, that little thing. And there we go. Okay. Finish that, and that is mostly my ducky. So there's plenty more ways I can work with this. Again, the eyes are still dead doll's eyes. So something I could do is if I want to split this up even more, if I wanted to add a bill to this, let's save this and split faces for bill. Let's do another one. Create a sketch. There we go. And I want to just kind of make a split in here. So do another fit point spline. Something to that effect. Close in there, close in there. There we go. All right. Same deal here. Finish sketch. Oops. Modify. Split face, or sorry, not split face. I want to go back and split body again. I'm going to select here, splitting tool, my sketch there. Don't need to extend, I just want it right there. Hit OK. Well, now it has chopped that section out entirely. If I hide that, now, whoop, slightly surprised duck. So you can use the split face, or rather the split body tool, to actually chop away sections that you weren't able to do when you were making the edit form body. And tell you what, let's bring up the appearance tool again, and we'll do just nightmarish open. Right now it has just a creepy, yeah, kind of getting down to like Joker face thing here, but there we go. All right, so that's more or less what you're trying to get to. Obviously, add more details as you like, as you can. Go from there. All right, let's one more save. Split body for mouth. Okay. Anything anybody would like me to try to demonstrate? You got a question of, hey, how might I do something like this? Pretty well all good. Okay. Well, this is one of the examples. I'll pull up the other example here. I still have another ducky. Because ducks. Oh, that's the same one. I got the wrong one. There we go. The other duck I made. So just as reference, how I did the bill here on this one, what I did was actually inserted an edge and pulled it back into the body. One of the other things is you can do is if you wanted a sharp edge or something, you can crease these sides. Pardon me. So something like on the duck here, on this duck, the tail is really rounded. Let's go back. Now, of course, I'm going to be going past a few things history-wise. Let's see here. No, original, but I'm not, it's not affecting anything here. So right-click, edit form. Now, one thing, it's showing me like what's with all this like highlighted thing. Anytime you go back and edit form and retrace or try to make changes, what it'll do is it automatically leaves a ghost image of what was already there. So as you're tweaking things, you can visually compare what you've already done with what you're changing. So what I want to change here is I just want to sharpen this tail a little bit. So I'm going to go to modify and crease. What it does, this allows you to make a soft edge sharp. So I want to select the tail here. And because it's under symmetry, it locks the rest in. Sharpen that up. Click OK. Now that just simply has a nice sharp edge for the tail. I can do it again. Repeat crease. Let's say sharpen the backside a little bit. not that. Just want to sharpen that edge. Okay. And now when I go to edit form, select just the edge. I want to select that one. And all I'm doing this for is just to show you, yeah, you can kind of tweak these a little bit more. Make that just a little bit sharper. Rotate that a little bit sharper. Sharp tail now, that's all. So if you want to add edges in like that, that's fine. That works nicely. You can, of course, also uncrease those sides. Bevel edge, same. Number of adjacent edges, that works nicely too. So you got those same things selected. I can use a slider and you can build in and bevel into that right there. So you get more facets into there. Great, now the little adorable ducky has like a knife for a tail. Cool. But as you can see, it still has that highlighted image there of what was. So now when I select finish form, just recalculates. Oh God, what did it do to its face? It's adorable, adorable face. Now it just kind of has some war paint going. Okay, one last thing I want to show you on this is, all right, great, rubber ducky. Rubber ducky don't sit flat. So what you can do is if you want to flatten a side or so, you can, of course, draw something in. You know, you could, just like I did for the bill, you could draw, just draw a straight line across and go to split body, and then it would chop that off. The mouth chunk there is still exists. It's just a different body there. But a different way you can work is, excuse me. Same, you can split face, split body or so. Jeez. But you can use a plane. So I'm going to make a construction plane, just an offset plane off of the origin. Sometimes it's hard to select. Right click, and let's say I want to end the duck there. Okay. Modify, split body, that body, tools. If you can't get to it, remember, hide the bodies. Now I can select that plane and it just creates that circle around. Remember, unhide the thing so it actually affects what's visible. Click OK. Added one more. Let's see which one is which now. Keeps renaming. I wish it renamed the new one. So hide that. Now, flat bottom. That's all. And add a fillet on, a little bit of a round. There we go. And there you go. Now you could always add stuff on. And control save. Keep hitting. All right. Now you can always go back and add more stuff on if you want. So a completely separate body. So let's say create a form. And let's see, where's my origin? Reactivate the origin right there. Sure. Great. Let's see here. I want to use a cylinder. I'm going to create this basically on the head, somewhere around there. Let's make it about that big. And because it is in fact a cylinder, open up. Now, one thing I want to show you on here, check this out. A cylinder on edit form or on form space is not by default, a sealed thing. You can seal this with the cap tool, but this is basically just creating a surface. So one thing I want to do, let's make like one, because I'm going to end up extending all of this. So, okay, right there, that works. I don't need symmetry. Cool. Okay. So first, done that, I want to select the whole thing. I want to move it out a little bit. Let's see here. Where's the other bodies? It's creating that on the end. The only problem is it does get hard to see what you've done if you're trying to add additional bodies, because like you just doesn't want you to see. Tilt this up a little bit. Okay. Edit form. Edges, because that's all I have here. Select. Front. Extrude. Let's scale that down some. Up, rotate, more. Scale it down some, rotate. Scale it down some, rotate. And then I can cap this, click OK. Oh God, I forgot some steps. That was not a uniform scroll. What's going on here? There we go. Whoopsie daisy. I messed that up bad. So I thought I was using the uniform scale. I was not. Scale that down. Whoops. Scale it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Whoops. If I want to, oh, still got to tweak that. My mistake. Nope. Oh God, where am I? Can't quite get the edge. There we go. Click OK. Close this up just before. Fill hole, that edge. Ooh, not what I want. Let's do a collapse because I want it to a point. So that's the point. That's why you have these different options. And this fill star, if you want to leave a creased edge, you could leave it sharp. Collapse. I don't want it to crease. I want it to leave as a point. Jeez, come on. Keeps losing what I'm doing there. Click OK. Do it again for the bottom. Just happened there. Modify, fill hole, selectify those, collapse. I do want that to stay as a sharp point or maintain crease edges. There we go. Finish form. Yay, Demon Duckie. Now let's move that out a little bit. Because why not have a little bit of pointy horn duck? I want to go forward. Yeah, there we go. All right. Click OK. Select that again. Mirror that across the plane. God, I can't figure out what I'm doing anymore. I can't. Oh yeah, select objects, mirror plane, the plane. There we go. New body. Unhide. Why not? Why not? Let's go back and fix those side of the face. Although there is something to be said for the red. And let's see here. What else do we have? Ah, I know. Metal. Something extra shiny. Platinum. Why not? I want that for bodies. And give us some platinum horns because reasons. Okay. Pointy horned adorable ducky from Doom or of Doom. There we go. Oh yeah, probably totally. Or not probably, it definitely is. So last step here is I can join these. Now, this is going to cause problems if you try to join these and you have different appearances. So let's say do a combined join, target body to that, tool body is there. That's going to link all those together. Great. Okay. I'm going to select this as a new component, so it just tosses it out. So it leaves the tools. Those are all separate and all that such, but now it's out here. Finish Duckie because I can't stop calling it Duckie. Now the problem here is going to be, let me hit activate that body, hide all the originals. Okay, so it's hidden the eyes, which makes it slightly more nightmarish, as well as the horns. So let's unhide the horns.
You put an eyeball in his mouth. I feel like that would be better.
You do whatever you want. Go for it. You want to make a,
Cthulhu.
you want to try to make like a D&D observer or something there? Go for it. Or some
I
like,
know what that is.
it's the only one. It's the only one I remember. Like
My
the
dad
giant, the
knows.
floating eyeball with the tentacle eyeballs too.
Oh, that's a beholder.
Beholder. There we are.
Maybe like a corrupted snowman or corrupted teddy bear.
Those two. But one of the things you can do is instead of actually combining them, what you can do is group stuff. So let's see, I always forget where the group is. If you can't remember where something is, remember, press S and create a rigid group. There we go. So what this allows you to do is select different parts. Oh, this is across different two different components. I forgot. 1 second. Okay, I want to copy that and on there, paste. There we go. Okay, now I can hide the originals. Now these are copied onto the full duck. Okay, so go back, group, create rigid group. What this does is it simply links everything here together without actually combining them. And for some reason, it is not letting me do it. Okay, let's just do this by. Weird, it's not letting me do it. That's very odd. Okay, well, I don't know why it's not letting me do that. So to save time, we will just combine and then you can just connect these otherwise. So combine there, join. To that. Nope, don't need a new component. Click OK. Now, like I said, that removes the appearances on all those. So bring the appearance back. And you can put, ugh, I gotta do that by face again. Ah, why did it do the whole thing? Bring it back up. Yeah, slowly but surely. Apply this. Weird. For some reason, it's not letting me separate those. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't have grouped them together. Fine. Separate them out. Undo, or Control Z, redo that, get rid of it. Okay, fine. Okay. And I'll of course copy over the eyeballs to so it no longer just has nightmarish black eye sockets there. And I should be able to now put a better fillet around the sides. Nope, still giving me errors. Fine, you jerk. So, but I do want to try around the side there. Yep. So at least the fillet to bond the two sides working out. I'll add another two there. Same, either side. Freaking hooray. All right, so add faces, add a face, as many eyeballs as you like, parts and appendages, deluxe. Have fun, it's not due for 2 weeks. Also gives you time to catch up with some stuff. So enjoy, play around, I'm gonna save this. And of course, let me know where I can help. And ultimately, have fun making whatever you please. All right.